All right, so we're just trying to get him to move his feet. He was very reluctant to travel in one direction consistently, and he kept sort of, even on the long reins or loose in the round pen, he'd flip the other way, turn outside rear, flip the other way. So T's now just asking him to travel in one direction and then do an inside turn and change direction. How's he feeling this morning?
He feels good. He feels about the same. We're going to see our last session. I introduced the flag to him to just try to have a little bit more attention,
Yes.
get a little more attention from him, and kept it very slow and got him comfortable with it, and he was good. We didn't have really any issues. So today we're going to do the same thing, try to keep it quiet, but maybe push him past the time that he likes to spend doing it.
Yes, he does seem to have
a
pretty good Rolex going on there somewhere, doesn't he?
He does.
15 to 20 minutes, and he then really starts looking for a way out, I find.
And he seems just very immature in knowing like where his feet are and how to move, which I've seen just in the way he is in general, standing tied sometimes he moves in a funny way, or coming through the gate he's quite awkward. He doesn't bend his body to move around the gate or anything like that. So just think with a little more awareness of his feet, and that moving forward is a good thing.
Yep.
Oh, are you gonna do it again? Okay. Good boy. Good boy.
And this has been a good exercise for him, hasn't it?
Very good exercise. And when we first did it yesterday, he struggled a little bit, actually quite a bit, but got it, worked it out.
Yep.
Didn't panic.
And it's a particularly nice exercise for him, just asking him to follow a feel, which is exactly what he wouldn't do when he was deciding to change direction. We did work out, though, didn't we, that it seemed at first to be a particular direction he didn't want to travel. We thought he doesn't want to travel to the right because he was always doing it when he was traveling right. But then the right side became the better side, and he was doing it traveling to the left.
Good boy.
It wasn't a direction thing at all. It was much more of a time thing. I think he got to a certain stage where he felt like
didn't
he'd
want
had
to do
enough.
it. Yeah. I wish we had footage of him struggling with that exercise first to see how nice that is now.
Yes, yes. So he was doing what he was doing on the long run, so he was just pulling in the one direction and hoping that would work. And it's obviously an answer. The big issue that we're trying to get him over is the rearing issue. And, you'll find that some horses are just more prone to rearing than others. That's definitely a response that's worked for this young horse in the past. And that's all right. There's no problem with that. It's just we need to know it's there, and we need to give him some much better alternative answers to questions. So the flags just helped him bend a bit through his body.
He would just bring that hip straight in.
Okay.
And didn't seem, it was close enough that it was not comfortable or safe, but it also helped him aim his whole body to the outside, which is where he was always trying to be. So I want him arced around me and bent to the inside a little bit.
Yeah, so by bringing his hip to you, that's the start of that outside turn that he so wanted to do, isn't it?
Yeah. So you thought about that there for a second. Good boy. Good choice, as you would say, Kate.
Good choice. And you can tell with him now, what I'm really liking watching from here is that he's looking in much more.
Yes.
Before it was always looking out, where can I go, sort of thing. Now he's much more looking to you, which is that start of self-carriage, isn't it? I'll go round to the right until T asks me to change direction. So keep looking to T for, when is that
Trot.
next signal coming?
So there's that hip. Keep that hip away. Walk. Walk. Good boy. I have a slightly longer lead today than yesterday.
Okay.
I felt like I had a little bit more communication and was able to stop any bad ideas with a shorter rope yesterday.
Right.
So we're just going a little longer here. So eventually that turn would be a nice flow rather than him stopping to make that turn, but that's
Okay.
good. He's still looking at me for that communication. Trot.
It's right there. Thank you, Ash. That was a good example of what he was doing before. You saw him, he just tried to turn left.
And I asked for that trot right in that spot where he is always thinking of that.
Okay.
But that is actually, that was a very, he really didn't make the effort. He could have made that quite a bit more challenging for me if he wanted to.
Yes.
He didn't.
It was a bit of a half-hearted.
Yeah, definitely. Good boy. I'm gonna bring him in a little bit here so that I can work on that arc a little bit. So keep that hip away. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. So hip step over, front end steps over. Nice. Good boy. Good boy. Okay. Trot. Walk.
So what's happened with Ash really is we've just found the hole in his training. So, we always say get the feet to move consistently, then take them in the direction you want them to go, and last of all, make it pretty. So we had problems with number 2, get the feet to move consistently, because he was stopping, and obviously problems with number 3 because he wasn't maintaining his line, so he was changing direction. So we're just really back at those two things. And don't worry about that if it happens. It's great to know this now. Good to know all these things before you get close to getting on, because you can, find alternative answers for him. You don't have to, just cross your fingers and hope for the best when you actually come to mounting him. I don't want any of these behaviours left there. I want him to know really useful answers to the questions I'm going to ask when I'm on board, which is basically going to be walk and trot, left and right, and go forward.
His mind is drifting a little bit. He's kind of thinking outside.
Okay, yeah.
So kind of put a little bit of extra pressure on to keep him thinking, but I can see he's maybe 50% on me, 50% outside.
Right.
Walk. Good boy.
So it's also quite helpful for him to do this on a line, because when he was loose in the round pen, he also would keep changing direction. And what happens really quickly is the horse feels very chased. And so then, you're really working backwards because you're chasing the horse around the round pen. Here, T can control even where his head is. So if he starts to put his head to the outside, she can just put some pressure on that rope and release it when he turns and looks at her. And that's really helpful for him as well. So he doesn't actually have to make the mistake every time. So if he's not on a line, then he is liable to make that mistake every time, which means he expends a lot of energy and his emotional level is much harder to regulate. Good, just forward. So she just said, just drove him forward. We always want him thinking forward. Rearing's really backward. So the answer is always going to be go forward. The problem with punishing rearing is that usually just makes him rear higher. So what T did there was made him go a little bit faster after the rear. So what he's going to learn that pattern. Oh, I rear and then I have to go fast, and he doesn't want to go fast. So he's going to have to work that out.
Walk. Walk.
You also find he does this at a certain point in the arena. This horse is very attached to the gate, and most of his behaviour comes around that gate area. So that gate is right next to the mounting block there. And you can see his focus around this side of the circle. He's quite focused on T, and then his focus sort of drifts towards the gate. Right there, so T's anticipated that and asked him to do a bit more as he goes around the gate.
Ooh. Whoa's not going to be a problem for you.
No, he's going to be very good at stopping. It's going to be his favourite thing.
Okay, so I'm going to put the flag down for a minute and go back to just moving that hind quarter and front end around a little bit. Get him to focus on me again, and then go back to that. So I guess I'm just trying to stay calm with him, keep him calm, but I want to push him past that time limit today.
Yes.
Good boy. Good boy. Ooh.
So you can see T's asking him really specific things. She's not just trying to run him around in each direction and get him tired so he'll be submissive. She's actually asking him really specific things. Move your feet here, move your shoulders here, move your hindquarters here.
Good boy.
Look at me. And that's really helpful for the horse because it makes it very clear for the horse, giving him very clear signals what she wants done. It also means that the horse can get things right. So the horse isn't always guessing as to what was correct or not. The horse is being rewarded. So the pressure's released and then the horse is rewarded for doing the right thing. And you'll hear T saying, good boy, a lot like that. And that's a form of positive reinforcement, as is the stroking. And it makes it very clear what she wants Ash to do, and which makes it much easier for Ash to oblige.
Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Let me try that. Okay, but without forward. Good boy. Get stuck feet a little bit. Good. Good boy. Kind of took that opportunity for a second because I knew he was going the wrong way to put a little extra pressure on that.
Yep.
So that kind of gave me the benefit of the doubt later that he goes, oh, I can feel that pressure and I'm not going to win.
Yeah, and I think it's, we've been going for 15 minutes now, so it's important to understand that he's educationally very young. This horse, he's only 3 anyway, but he hasn't done much at all in his 3 short years. And so I think every session that he has like this, where we manage to sort of keep his emotional level under control, he remains calm, he made a couple of little mistakes, that's fine. When he made the mistakes though, he was kept under pressure, like even when he was thinking in the wrong direction right then, when he was asked to turn and face, she kept him under pressure, and so what he had to do was try and find the right answer to release the pressure, and that's great because that's really consistent for him, and that's going to be
Good boy.
the thing he has to do for the rest of his sort of riding and handling career. Is he's going to be under some sort of pressure. It might just be voice, it could be rein, it could be leg, it could be seat, could be anything like that. Some sort of pressure, and he's going to have to move something to find the right answer. And we teach the horses this, that nothing bad is going to happen, that they're quite safe, but they just need to trial answers. And so what we're teaching this young horse is that there are certain answers that are going to be acceptable, that are good to trial, and there are others that just never work. So his answer that's worked for him in the past is rearing, and we've just got to keep showing him that that doesn't work. That's not going to be an answer to anything. So with horses like this that are good at stopping, that are quite sort of backward thinking horses, horses that rear are backward thinking, I'd keep teaching them to back up for quite a while. Just do everything forward, forward, forward until they're really established and they've stopped offering you those backward answers.
I'm moving a little bit more just because I feel like he's, oh, good boy, thinking about the outside a little bit, so I'm trying to stay in a position to catch him if he makes a bad choice.
So that's a good example of having the horse's emotional level in the right place and being able to regulate that emotional level. So he's moving more, and what that does is that actually increases the horse's emotional level because she's moving, so she's putting in a bit more emotion herself, and that will increase Ash's emotional level. And so if he's thinking about something else, then his focus is not on her, which means she needs to somehow increase his emotional level a bit. We're trying to get him into the engagement zone, keep him there during the lesson. So that's, 10 to 15% above his resting level. And what happens when he gets a bit tired and he's done his 15 minutes, which he has now because he's on 18 and a half minutes, he starts to shift his focus to something else. And so that usually happens with this horse is that his emotional level just drops and he just starts to think about something else. So he's no longer engaged. And then we need to lift his emotional level a bit, not much, just a couple of percent, to say, no, I'm asking you to do something here. We're still having a conversation here.
Walk. Good boy. It's a tricky fine line with him too, because sometimes a correction or just like that right there can turn so big. His reaction is so big, even though it should have been just a simple.
Yeah.
Trot. Walk. Good boy, good boy. So last time when he walked right there, he stopped. Mm-hmm. I asked him to keep going, and I got a big reaction. So.
Yep.
Good boy. Okay, trot. And walk. Good boy. Walk. Walk.
Stopping really is his special skill, isn't it?
I can see him at a jump with his rider on the other side.
Yeah.
Trot. And walk. Walk. So I'm asking him that repeatedly in his kind of trouble area, so I'm giving him a lot of credit for coming through on all of those.
Yep. That was
boy.
nice.
Good boy. Good boy. Trot. And walk. Good boy. So he seems a little bit more disconnected to me going left today.
Okay.
Thinks he's thinking about going to the rail, way more going this way. Okay, trot. And walk. Keep walking. You know, one thing we haven't really mentioned, Kate, that he does to control the forward too is he'll turn to face you. Doesn't do it as often,
Yep.
but he tries to stop and face you too.
Right.
So both of those are ways to get out of going forward.
Yeah.
Good boy.
That's why it really helps to have these very clear signals. You know, so you'll hear Tisha saying walk when she wants him to walk, not to stop. If she wants him to turn and face, she'll probably tap a hip or something, make it really clear, really different from all the other signals. And it's something to be aware of. Your voice signals are very important, and they are
Walk.
pressure cues. But you can keep the same ones all the way through, you know, even when you're riding. And it makes it much easier for the horse. Like I use a kiss cue for canter on the ground and under saddle. And the horse knows when I kiss that means canter. That's all it means. And it's you should listen to yourself sometimes, because I know it's very easy to be sort of cantering off.
We're at our time limit.
Yeah. 24 minutes.
That was a first.
See how all his behaviour's changed. He's doing the dropping his head, shaking his head.
He's also looking outside completely.
Yeah. So it's a good time now to have a plan for working out, you know, what is it, what are we going to stop on, and say that we've worked past that problem area. So we had the problem at 24 minutes. horse now, T needs to work out how to be able to stop. So it's, what we don't want to do is have the horse have a problem and say, oh, you bad horse, I'm going to make you work really hard now, because that's unhelpful.
Walk. Walk.
Truck going by.
Walk. So that's a tough one because, like you were just saying, we have to find a good place to stop because it'll probably just get worse and worse to work on something right now.
Yeah.
And we've gotten pretty good, but kicking out like that was a new one, and it's pretty naughty.
Yep, absolutely.
And I would like to make him work a little bit harder,
Yeah.
but like you said, we probably will find more places to fight then.
Yeah, I think it's fine to make him work harder, but you need an aim. Like you need to have a stop point before you start, sort of thing, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
whether it's 3 circles in each direction that are really good, whether you can get him paying attention for a minute, I don't know, whatever it is. But what happens otherwise is we become quite reactive, so he does something wrong, we react to that by punishing him for doing that. Whereas what we're trying to do is remain proactive. So he does something wrong and we say, oh, okay, we'll teach you something else. And that way we're always sort of teaching him rather than just waiting for him to make a mistake and then reacting to that.
It seems that he kind of throws that little time tantrum, but I think what's interesting today is he didn't do all the things that he has normally done with the rearing and the turning to the rail and all of that. So I think the kicking out of the flag was just his way of expressing himself in a different way.
Yeah.
And saying, I'm tired of this, I'm done.
Yeah.
Let me try this.
Yeah, well, it's also another movement. Like, we've got to think of it like that as well. It's naughty for us because it's dangerous. But for him, it's another answer. It's another possible answer. He's moving something. He's trialing answers. We just need to make it clear that was definitely the wrong one. And you kept him under pressure when he did that, so it didn't work. Like you made it pretty clear that wasn't the answer you were looking for.
Trot. Walk. Oh, good boy, good boy. That was our best one. That's going to be my spot to end.
Excellent.
Ooh, because he's nice and quiet.
It's made 28 and a half minutes. Congratulations.
Good boy. Good boy. Well, we saw right about that 25 or 24-minute mark.
Yeah.
A little good boy.
Really good.